All right. All right. We are back. Today we are going to be dealing with the first day of Unleavened Bread. And we are going to be talking about the bread of affliction. The bread of affliction. We want to just go ahead. We're not even going to prolong this thing any longer. We're just going to get right into it. I'm going to pull these verses up here. Put them up on the screen. We'll read Deuteronomy 16, 1 through 3. One second here. Deuteronomy 16. Verses 1 through 3.
Guard the new moon of Abib and perform the Pesach to Yahweh your Elohim. For in the new moon of the Abib, Yahweh your Elohim brought you out of Mitzrayim by night. And you shall slaughter the Pesach to Yahweh your Elohim from the flock and the herd, and in the place where Yahweh chooses to put his name. Eat no leavened bread with it. For 7 days you eat unleavened bread with it. Bread of affliction, because you came out of the land of Mitzrayim in haste, so that you remember the day in which you came out of the land of Mitzrayim, all the days of your life.
Okay, very good. All right. That bread of affliction. It gives us an idea as to why we are to remember. It says here in verse 3, because you came out of the land of Mitzrayim in the haste. So I wanted to kind of pay attention over here to this idea over here of this bread of affliction, the bread of affliction. So let's see what this word is over here that's translated as affliction. Just sure I'm right over here. Okay, here we go. Our word here for affliction is ani, which is depression, misery, affliction, afflicted, or affliction, or trouble. This root over here, let's see, the root is ana, which is to the idea of looking down or browbeating or depress. We talked about ana some last night, because when we think about the Day of Atonement, you are supposed to be anahing your nefesh. You're supposed to be afflicting your soul. So the root of this word here, ani, which is translated as affliction over here, where it says the bread of affliction. The root, again, is the same idea of afflicting, affliction. Again, what we would remember as, afflicting one's soul. Okay, so when we look at this word over here for affliction, one of the things over here that is incorporated, that's my mouse over here. One of the things that we see that is incorporated in this definition over here is depression. Depression. So we think about depression from the 1828 Webster's Dictionary, the act of pressing down, the state of being pressed down, or a low state. Also a sinking of the spirits, dejection, a state of sadness, a want of courage or animation, depression of the mind. And so when we think about this, again, this bread of affliction, when we think about it, just thinking about the actual words that is given to us is kind of sad. It's sorrowful, right? To think about depression, think about these things that are holding us down and pressing down on us and troubling us, right? And so I wanted to kind of think about this for a little bit, because when we think about the idea of kind of remembering, as it says in verse number 3, remembering, right, because you came out of Mitzrayim in haste, and remembering the day in which you came out. If we're thinking about the bread of affliction, and affliction is dealing with this idea of pressing down and this low state and this want of courage, this having a desire for courage. Like if you're having a desire for it, you don't necessarily have it. Right? This is something that you're lacking. When the way that is used here, want of courage, just the lack of courage. Right? But when we came out of Mitzrayim, this was our deliverance, right? We're leaving from depression. We're leaving from this low state. We're leaving from this sinking of spirits and this want of courage, and we're moving into something else, right? Something that's new, right? And so when we think about this whole idea, this bread of affliction, we're not thinking about it in terms of, well, I wouldn't say that we should be thinking about it in terms of where we were, but where we're going to, right? The destination, right? If we the fact that we were slaves in Egypt is a reality, but we're remembering not only the fact that we were slaves, but that we were set free, though. Right? Mm-hmm. And so when we think about this idea of this, and I kind of think about this too sometimes, because like I know how you say that when we eat these crackers, that you kind of like, you don't like them, right? And then, but I say, well, it's the bread of affliction, right? We're remembering this thing that happened to us. But the more that I think about this, yes, it's called the bread of affliction, but which part of it are we memorializing? Right? Is it the bad part? Or is it the good part? Right? You gotta have the bad in order to have the good.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember the
you gotta know from which
radish.
it came to understand more fully where it's going. But I would say that the most important part of this thing is the deliverance part. The fact that this bread of affliction, this bread that we made in haste, this is the initiation of our deliverance. Right? So I want to look at a few things over here. If we go over to the book of Psalms, Psalms chapter 34. And let's go ahead and just begin to start reading. Read down to just read the first 5 verses here.
Okay. Olive, I bless Yahweh at all times. His praise is continually in my mouth. Bet. My being makes its boast in Yahweh. Let the humble hear and be glad. Gimel. Oh, make Yahweh great with me, and let us exalt his name together. Dalit. I sought Yahweh, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears. Hey, they looked to him and were lightened. Wow. And their faces were not ashamed.
Okay, very good. All right, so when we look at this, it's interesting when we look at this, it's kind of a process over here, when we look at this, how this begins. We look at the first verses as it goes down, dealing with the idea of blessing Yahweh at all times. Your praise continually being in your mouth, right? Make Yahweh great with me. Magnify Yahweh with me. When you think about the idea of magnifying Yahweh, if you're magnifying something, you're blowing it up, right? You're causing it to be big, right? You're drawing the thing closer to you. You're drawing closer to it. But verse 4 is interesting. And when you think about what we see in verses 1 through 3, at least when I'm looking at this, there seems to be a type of a reality gap between verse 3 and 4. Because by verse 4, it says, I sought Yahweh, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears. But how do we get to this place of being, having these fears, this place of, needing of deliverance outside of where we've just come from in terms of praising the Most High continually and causing him to be great with me and exalting him? When we're able to be in a place where we're able to draw close to the Most High, when we're able to fully experience who he is, where does the fear part come in at? Where's the fear part come in at whenever we're dealing with a closeness and experiencing the Most High? Because when you look at this, right, it's talking about this idea of drawing close, praising him continually, and then seeking him, for these fears. And then verse 5, they look to him, these ones that were humble, the people who are kind of the ones that are doing these things, look to him and were lightened, and their face is not ashamed. Keep on reading verse 6 down here.
Verse 6. This poor one cried out, and Yahweh heard him and saved him out of all his distresses. Keep going.
7 too.
Okay. The messenger of Yahweh encamps all around those who fear him and rescues them.
Okay, very good. So again, we see, matter of fact, go down to 9.
Okay. Oh, taste and see that Yahweh is good. Blessed is a man that takes refuge in him. Yod, fear Yahweh, you set apart ones, for there is no lack to them who fear him.
Okay, very good. So verse 9 is interesting because, again, it's pointing us back to where our fear should be placed. Right? Our fear can't be placed outside of the Most High. Because when that is, that's when we get to the place where we need deliverance and we need rescue. Right? But he said in verse 9, fear Yahweh, for there is no lack to them who fear him. Now again, we think about this idea of lacking. That takes us back to the depression part, where we're lacking of that courage, right? When we're wanting to have courage because we lack it. But over here, if we are able to fear Yahweh, he says there is no lack to them who fear him. We're in a state of wanting no thing, right? And so I just thought it was interesting when we look at this chapter over here, where this chapter basically helps us to understand how we're able to not be in this state of distress. Right? It gives us an out, how we're able to escape when we let these things creep in. But if we're able to do 1 through 4 over here, right? We don't have to be at 5 where we're looking for, 4, verse 4. We don't have to be at the place where we're needing of deliverance, because we understand that our fear, the Most High is the one who deserves our fear and nothing else. Right? When we allow for things to be the thing that we actually fear, we're putting those things above the Most High. When we allow things and situations and circumstances to cause us to, have fear and affliction and this depression, this thing that's pressing down on us, we've placed something above the Most High, right? We look at this psalm again. The psalm helps us to understand how to make our way back over there, but we don't have to be over there in the first place. Let's look at 1 John 4 and 18. 1 John 4. 1 John 4 and 18.
It says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear holds punishment, and he who fears has not been made perfect in love.
Okay, it's very good. There's no fear in love. We know that the Most High is love, right? Elohim is love. When we're able to be fully engulfed in who the Most High is, through the power of the Ruach HaKodesh, understanding the fact that he literally dwells in us and with us. There's no fear in love. This could say there's no fear in the Most High, because he is love. Right? Perfect love casts out fear. When we're able to have that perfect intertwining with the Most High, we're able to cast out all fear. We're able to cast out all things that press down on us. Right? He who fears has not been made perfect in love. When we're in this fear thing, we have not been made perfect. We have not been able to fully go through these processes that we looked at over in Psalms 34 and 1 through 3, with dealing with our communications with the Most High. In terms of boasting, blessing Yahweh at all times and praising him continually, right? Continuing to have that connection with the Most High. Second Timothy 1:7.
Says, for Elohim has not given us a spirit of cowardice, but of power and of love and of self-control.
Cowardice or fear. Okay? Or this thing that causes us to be afflicted. This thing that causes us to be pressed down. Again, thinking back to Psalms 34 and verse 9, the fear of Yahweh, the ones who had the fear of Yahweh, for there is no lack to them who fear him. Let's go back to Psalms 34. I just want to finish reading that before we go back to thinking about this bread of affliction. Because when we think about this bread of affliction, I'm saying that it's not about, the place that we was at. Because we not supposed to be in that place. Right? He came and got us for a reason. Right? Okay, let's go back over here. Let's go back to Psalms 34. Okay, pick back up at verse, you read through 9, right at verse 10.
Verse 10. Okay. Young lions have lacked and been hungry, but those who seek Yahweh lack not any good matter.
Keep going.
Come, you children, listen to me. Let me teach you the fear of Yahweh.
Very good. Again, this thing is repeating, but again, it's helping us to be able to have this thing that we have inside of us, this fear, be concentrated where it's supposed to be at, so that we can't allow for these other things to creep in and to displace the Most High in us, where he belongs. Okay, keep going.
Who is the man who desires life, who loves many days, in order to see good? Keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit. Turn away from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. The eyes of Yahweh are on the righteous, and his ears unto their cry. The face of Yahweh is against evildoers, to cut off their remembrance from the earth. The righteous cried out, and Yahweh heard, and delivered them out of all their distresses. Yahweh is near to the brokenhearted, and save those whose spirit is crushed. Many are the evils of the righteous, but Yahweh delivers him out of them all. He is guarding all his bones, not one of them is broken. Evil does not slay him the wrong, and those who hate the righteous are guilty. Yahweh redeems the lives of his servants, and none of those taking refuge in him are guilty.
Okay, very good. So again, when we look at this, thinking about the psalmist over here, where again, we know that the Most High is more than capable to rescue those that are his, right? He's more than able to deliver us from all things that attempt to bind us up. But I think that when we think about this, what we're seeing over here, again, we don't have to allow for these things to creep in and cause us to be down pressed. we're able to stand in victory, right? And so when I think about this bread of affliction, the only reason that I want to remember that I was afflicted is really in the context of my deliverance. Let's look over at Romans 8.
So it's
18.
not that affliction.
I'm saying that it's not my affliction that I want to concentrate on, because that's what he delivered me from. When we think about this bread of affliction, we're able to see the prophetic thing that's behind it, which again is more so towards our redemption, is more so towards our Redeemer, than for us to kind of think about, where you was, the pain and the sorrow and the down pressing. If you sit around and think about the bad times long enough, what's gonna happen?
You're gonna stay there.
That's where you're gonna be at.
Yeah.
Right? But the punchline over here is the fact that we was delivered from all of that. Right? And you even see that in Deuteronomy 16:3, where it says, even the bread of affliction, for thou camest out. It's talking about you came out forth from Egypt in haste, that thou mayest remember the day when thou came out of the land of Egypt. If we're thinking back to the day that we came out of Egypt, that's the pivot point right there. It's not the fact that we was over there working hard, slaves, and making these mortar with hay and bricks and all of this stuff. It's the fact that he came and delivered us on this day, and we remember this day for the rest of our lives, right? But let's read Romans 8 and 18. Romans 8 and 18. What does that say?
It says, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the esteem that is to be revealed in us.
That thing said over here, the sufferings, the things that we go through, the things that might afflict us, the things that might press down on us in this time, in this life that we live, those things are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. When we think about the glory that shall be revealed in us, we're talking about the manifestation of the Most High in us and through us. The Most High coming and dwelling on the inside of us and changing us and transforming us to the fullness, to the place where He is having for us to be. And so the things that we go through, the sufferings of this time, are not worthy to be compared to what the Most High is doing and is able to do and will complete in His doing in you. And so again, we think about this bread of affliction. It's not about the affliction that we was being afflicted in, right? It's about our deliverance from the affliction. Our deliverance. We had to just hurry up and do this because we
trying to get out.
We done with this place. We done with this taskmaster that's sitting up here making. The matter of fact, he about to die at the hand of my new master.
Get out of here.
But these things are true not only for that, but for our lives. We sit around and things happen, real things happen in our lives, and we allow for these real things to happen into our lives, these sufferings in these present times that we exist in, and we allow these things to move us out of the mind frame that we supposed to just always be in. And having that praise continually in our mouth. Right? And continuing in the fear of the Most High so that we're able to lack nothing. Ever. Right? 2 Corinthians 4. Second Corinthians 4, 7. Start reading at verse 7 down to 18.
It says, and we have this treasure in earthen vessels, so that the excellence of the power might be of Elohim, and not of us, being hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, being perplexed, but not in despair, being persecuted, but not forsaken, being thrown down, but not destroyed.
Hold on, let's stop right there. Let's look at some of this right now, because when we think about this over here, 2 Corinthians 4, 8, and 9, you know, he's saying some things over here. We're going to be troubled, he said, but not distressed. What that mean? What verse is that? 8? We're going to be
perplexed.
We're going to be crowded. Right? We're going to be in this narrow spot. Look at this. We're going to be having suffer and tribulations all around us. This word literally means to crowd. Things is going to be bogging down on you. Mm-hmm. Right? But it says that's going to be happening. But you're not going to be, what this word mean? You're not going to be hemmed in. Right? Things is going to be crunching down and pushing down on you. But something's hemmed in, it ain't coming out. Right? You know, I used to get jeans that was too big for me. And I put a cuff in them at the bottom. But some people, they would get them things hemmed in. That hem ain't coming out. The cuff, sometimes, if you don't get enough starch on that thing when you're ironing it and bust that crease in the thing, if you don't get that right, it's coming out. So, you know, your situation is folded over, right? It's pressed down on you, but it's not hemmed in. It's not forever. Like, it's not a permanent situation. There's an end to the thing, right? If something's hemmed in, that's it, right? And so there's an end to your trouble, right? To your affliction. Because that word for trouble could be affliction, but there's an end to that, right? That thing comes to an end, right? It's not this permanent thing. We get in these situations and we treat these situations as if, I don't know what's going to happen.
Like it's the end.
I might not make it out of this thing. But there's an end to it. You're going to be, it says, pressed on every side, but not crushed. Right? Perplexed. I don't know what's going on. I'm just, what is this? Perplexed. Like, what is this word? What is this in the Greek? When I think about perplexed, I'm just in a state of confusion. I don't know what's going on. Where am I? Like, what's this over here? To have no way out. You just in this dark place, and where's the door at? Where's the door in this dark place? Can somebody turn the lights on in here? Right? No way out. You just at a loss mentally. This word just means for you to just be at a loss mentally. But this is the low side. Wait a second. What are we looking at here? Perplexed.
I don't know what's going on.
Wow, this is not even the high side. Oh my goodness. You could be in this state of thinking that there's not a way out. But it says, but this over here. What's this here? This despair. But not at a total loss. Right? So you can be in this place of perplexity where there is a perception of being totally lost. But over here, you won't be totally lost. And so again, we're looking at these things because they're thinking about the fact that these things, these afflictions that we experience through what Yeshua has done for us, we're able to move out of these things just like he moved us out of Egypt. Right? And we're back. If we think about, we talked about this the other day. When we think about what the problem was with ancient Israel when they came out of Egypt, is their minds was still back over there in Egypt. Their minds was back over. Meanwhile, the Most High had already delivered them. Had already killed the people that was chasing them. Nobody was chasing them no more. But their minds was still back there, locked up. But they was freed of. But those was the ones that ended up dying in the wilderness because they didn't realize where they was going and where they was at. And they was concentrating on where they came from. Back there with all of that affliction. Right? But when we look over here and back in 2 Corinthians, when we look at these verses over here, there's things that's going to be happening to you, but these things don't get to their fullness. Because, keep on reading verse 10.
It says, always bearing about in the body the dying of the Master Yeshua, that the life of Yeshua might also be manifest in our body.
Oh my goodness. So all this stuff, this is interesting. When you look at this, right? All this stuff going to happen to you. You're going to get distressed, not perplexed. Right? I mean, you're going to be perplexed and not in despair. You're going to be forsaken and not destroyed. But the way that you're not all of these things is always bearing about in the body of the dying Master Yeshua. You look back to his affliction for your affliction. That the life also of Yeshua might be made manifest in your body. So again, when we think about comparing this to what we looked at over in Psalms, when we have these things that's going on, the thing that causes us to be able to escape from these things is drawn closer to the Most High. When we have these things that's going on over in 2 Corinthians, the thing that brings us back to where we're supposed to be at is understanding that that Yeshua did something for us. Right? It says that the life of Yeshua might also be manifest in our mortal flesh. Oh, that was verse 11. In our bodies. Keep on reading verse 11.
It says, for we, the living, are always delivered to death for the sake of Yeshua, that the life of Yeshua might also be manifested in our mortal body, or our mortal flesh.
Keep on.
So that death indeed is working in us, but the life in you. But having the same spirit of belief, according to what has been written, I believed, therefore I spoke. We also believe, therefore we also speak. Knowing that he who raised up the Master Yeshua shall also raise us up through Yeshua, and shall present us with you. For all this is for your sake, so that favor, having spread through the many, would cause thanksgiving to overflow unto the esteemed of Elohim. Therefore we do not lose heart, but even in our outward man, our outward man is perishing, the inward man is being renewed day by day.
Oh, read 16 one more time.
Therefore,
that's saying something right there.
Yeah, therefore we do not lose heart, but even if our outward man is perishing, the inward man is being renewed day by day.
So we're not even talking about necessarily, because before we looked at the other verse in Romans where it talks about the sufferings of this present time don't compare with the glory which shall be revealed in us. So when we think about the glory that shall be revealed in us, that's the total manifestation of the glory. That's when we've been changed to how he is. And we talked about the other day. I feel like whenever we're changed, we know all of the things, right? And so that's the total manifestation of his glory. We're transformed, changed, right? None of these things that's going on right now can compare to what that's going to be. But when we look over here in verse 16, it's talking about your inward man being renewed day by day. Like it's going on. You're being transformed and changed even just right now. The end result is a total manifestation of the glory of the Most High in you. But you're being changed every day. Even though on the outside, that thing is perishing. Things are falling off of you.
Yeah.
Your body's breaking down. Right? The minute that you're born, the Most High got an end date for you. You don't know what it is. Your body's dying before it's even fully developed. It's dying already.
I always tell my wife and the kids, like, we're not our body.
Yeah, that's right.
This ain't us.
Right.
We're inside. We're just inside this thing.
Yes.
This ain't us. You gotta focus on what's inside first and manifest it in the physical. But you can get into one of these. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the most I can renew this stuff. So just focus on the inside. Yep. That's it.
Right. And it's being renewed day by day. Okay, verse 17.
It says, for this slight momentary pressure is working for us as a far more exceeding and everlasting weight of esteem.
Hold on, let's see that. What did King James say? King James do it right. The scriptures be playing sometimes. What did King James say on that
King
one?
James one says, as for our light affliction.
That affliction is light. He don't even know. You don't know my life, the story. You don't know what I'm going through. He said your light affliction is but a moment.
Yeah.
Your little affliction, that little thing you got, that thing is just for a moment. Meanwhile, Paul don't know what I'm going through, but he's still calling it light.
Yeah.
Compared to what? What did it say?
Which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory, while we look in at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal.
Yes. Okay. So again, when we think about the bread of affliction, to be remembered is what has been done for us, not the affliction that we have suffered and went through.
Can I add too?
Go ahead.
That's why Yeshua also said, be faithful unto death, because our body would just leave this plane, but it's nothing to fear. Like death itself is like You just transferring up out of here. That's it. So like, you stand strong in the walk in the faith no matter what come your way. That shit also fortify your spirit to be like, whatever happened. I trust in the Most High. Like, I'm gonna go see him. Like that's why I add that in there.
Yeah. Right, because at the end of the day, again, this thing is about we're remembering what it is that the Most High did for us. We're remembering his deliverance. We're not remembering all the bad things that Pharaoh did to us. We remember the fact that the Most High swept in with a mighty arm and a strong hand and grabbed us up out of there. Right? We're not remembering that those things that happened before that. We're remembering that miraculous thing that he did for us. And then again, the same thing is true when we think about it from a new covenant perspective. The fact that Yeshua came and has rescued us from the thing that's against the Most High, our very flesh. Right there, our flesh is a thing that's an enemy against the Most High. But then our flesh get in trouble, and we sit up here trying to worry about the things that's these temporal things, these physical things. We treat these things, as if these are the primary situations. But this is the flesh is the thing that he actually is redeeming us from. So it's almost like we looking back to our old master's problems. Them is his problems. We got a new master that he trying to free us from those things in the first place.
It's just like you get fired from a job and you worry about what's happening at work.
Yeah. When the day I get laid off, I pack my tools up and I'm out the door. I ain't telling you where I left off at. I might got some prints that you need to see somewhere. We ain't talk about that. I'm done with you. You do the old master.
Where's my money?
Yeah, get my money. Those is your problems now, not mine. Right? So we can't sit up here and be allowing our old master to be out here dictating what our problems is going to be. And that's how we be. All these things is happening. The situation is it's so terrible. Like I'm just having a terrible time dealing with this temporal thing. If we really thought about these things that troubles us, right, and put them in the proper perspective, we able to release ourselves from these things.
Yep.
Oh man, this if you just talk about like what it is, this temporal thing really got me down today.
That's what I talk to people.
That don't even sound like you. This temporary problem. I'm really down about it today. Even within yourself, you can realize tomorrow I'll go to sleep and I'll feel better in the morning.
Exactly.
Like it's like you're illogically working this thing out inside of yourself as it is, but you're not taking it all the way to the conclusion, the right conclusion. If I already know this thing is temporal, I'm gonna get up and go take care of something real quick. Yep. I'm not gonna let this thing hold me down and back and all of this.
Yep.
What was you gonna say?
No, but people like, how you doing? And I'm like, 1 hour at a time. Because no matter come your way, you got different things you're going to deal with hour to hour. Your mood could change hour to hour.
And that goes to 1 Corinthians 15:30 and 31. Paul literally said, and we in jeopardy every hour.
See? Every hour it's some test that might come. And you gonna have to fight it. But guess what? I always tell my wife, I'm like, this ain't forever. Whatever issue or trial you face face it head on, because we got the strength for the word right here. Attack it, and if you can't, go to the next thing. Like Moray said, go to the next thing. Focus on the next. Don't let that thing weigh you down, because all we talking about is a weight. And we come into this walk, we supposed to be releasing these weights, these things that hold us back. That's it.
End game. Stay focused on the end game.
Yeah, you got when you know the end. This
already know
this
the
rest of
end.
this stuff is just in your way. It's like stuff you just got to get around. It's like, let me just get around this, because I see where we're trying to go.
Like the NPCs.
Yeah, NPCs. Yeah. We just get around these people.
We know what's going to happen at the end.
Yeah.
It's like the movie's ruined for you already. There's no suspense. I already know what's going to happen.
It ain't ruined for me. I like watching the movie. I get the popcorn and watch the movie. I'm like, yeah, I'm looking in the book like, let me see the script. If we're going, they going off script right here. It's like,
Oh, you said at the end you want to have your steak and
hey man, be eating steak,
everything.
watching these plagues happen. Because look, in Egypt too, we talk about them coming out of Egypt. Another thing we gotta, the first part of having that faith was when they to even get to the point where they're leaving, was being obedient, putting that lamb's blood over their door to come out the next day to leave out, right? So then they didn't know what they was gonna face.
Right.
They didn't know those miracles and those works as they were leaving was going to happen to them. They just had to have straight faith. So it's like similar today. This stuff is going to happen around us. The good thing about it, we got reference. We got clues to what things are going to happen. But the main thing he said was obedience.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly how we're going to get out of this and these things is going to happen. But seeing how they got out of Egypt, did they know? But they still got out.
Yeah.
1 hour by hour.
Yep.
And when you think about it, when you think about the idea of going through the plagues and whatnot, at that point, going through the plagues, they're still not. They haven't been rescued yet. They're still like waiting.
Yeah.
But when we think about this idea over here, is what we deal with in Deuteronomy 16, talking about the bread of affliction, and it remembering when you came out, you did all that already. And so when we think about Yeshua and what he did for us already, he done already took us already. And so we already got to the place of, and through the place of believing in who he is, and now walking in that deliverance. And so we can't go back to the pre-faith in Yeshua part. Like that part happened already.
Right.
Like we was already there. Like we're at the other part where he's now carrying us through. Read this Matthew 11:28 through 30 over here.
Okay. It says, "Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I shall give you rest. Take my yoke."
Now I was just gonna say, if we think about this verse here, this might be the plague part right here. You ain't came to him yet. This is advertisement. Come over this way. Right? Come this way. Right? All you people who labor and are burdened. I got you. Right? You don't know yet. He's telling them what's gonna happen. Then what?
It says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble in heart, and you shall find rest in your beings. For my yoke is gentle and my burden is light."
Right. And so once we came to him now, and once we get to the place of learning of him, because this thing about with Yeshua, we don't got to have all knowledge to experience this right here. We got to have all knowledge about what it is he did for us, which is kind of simple when you think about it. He did a few things, not to diminish those things. He did a few things, they're pretty amazing things that he did. But you only got to just have a grasp of that. And that's all he's saying over here. You come and get a grasp of that, and let me teach you this, what I'm able to do for you. And then now this yoke, take my yoke upon you. A yoke, this word yoke here means to join or to couple. Join yourself to Yeshua. That's how you learn of him anyway. It's being yoked to him, being joined. Like how they used to put the animals together. They yoked them together. Not as if it's some burden. I'm not talking about a burden. It's talking about a joining together. And the stronger animal guided the lesser animal when they was yoked together. They might have been side by side, but one was pulling the other one, or pushing, however you want to say it. But once you've done that, now we're able to experience the fact that this yoke is easy because he's doing the heavy lifting over there.
Yeah.
You ever lift up something with somebody that's pretty strong? That thing is light to you because he got all the weight.
You be like, am I doing something?
Man, this thing don't weigh nothing. Meanwhile, he over there like,
yeah.
because he got all the weight. But that's what it is with Yeshua, though. And so again, we think about this light affliction, right? This bread of affliction. We need to remember his affliction, right? What he did, because that's how we got out. That's how we was delivered. Let's look over here in Isaiah. Go down. Verse read 5 through 5, 6, 7 there.
It says, but he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our crookedness. The chastisement for our peace was upon him, and his stripes and by his stripes we are healed. We all, like sheep, went astray. Each one of us has turned to his own way, and Yahweh has laid on him the crookedness of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, but he did not open his mouth. He was led as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent, but he did not open his mouth.
Okay, very good. So when we think about the affliction, Yeshua's affliction, right? His affliction was unto death. But his death was the gateway for our life. Right? His affliction that he went through, again, his affliction was unto death. You think about the affliction that Yeshua experienced in his body. We're not just talking about the fact that, he was beat down and, he went through this thing with these Roman torture specialists, right? Because when you look at these people, these people was literally torture specialists. They knew how to break your body down to the point where you was kind of on the verge of death without killing you, so that you could get up on that thing that torture stick and just let you stay there maximum amount of time, because they wanted you just to be up there and suffering unto death. They was just master torture specialists. These people, exceedingly wicked.
Which is really the worst way to die.
Yeah.
We was talking about what's the humane way to die.
That wasn't it. That wasn't it. Because they wasn't trying to have you die in a humane way. They was trying to let you sit up there and suffer like terrible. Like Conan out there on the tree where the birds was trying to eat his eyeballs out. Right? But Yeshua went through all that in his body. He went through all that in his body. So he had to deal with the physical death, that he suffered for us. But he also had to deal with the separation from the Most High. Because of this over here, the fact that he, the chastisement of our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. Right? The fact that he took on sin. The way Yeshua talked about his own self as being one with the Father. The Father being holy, right? Perfect. How do you have holy and perfectness and sin mixed together? That can't be, right? So there had to have been a separation between Yeshua, the Son, and the Father that he was facing when we look over in Matthew's, when he's over there in the garden with these prayers. In Matthew 26 and 38 and 39. $38 and 39.
It says, "Then he said to them, my being is exceedingly grieved, even to death. Stay here and watch with me. And going forward a little, he fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me, yet not as I desire, but as you desire."
Okay, so when we think about this cup that he was saying, let this cup pass from me. Again, we're not just talking about the fact that he's about to go and experience physical death. But he's about to experience the thing that Adam and Hava experienced whenever they ate of that tree of knowledge of good and evil. That spiritual death, that spiritual separation from the Most High. When they was going back and forth with the serpent and all this, him talking about you won't surely die. They didn't die, physical die right then. They were still alive. He wasn't all the way lying. But they did surely die though, because they had that connection with the Most High, and then once that sin thing came about, they got thrown out. And the wall put up with the seraphim there, with the flaming swords. Separation. You can't come back. And so when we think about this idea over here with this cup that had to pass from Yeshua, talking about let this cup pass from me, he's not only just talking about dying, but there's a separation that happened because he took on the sin of the world. He took on the sin of the world, of all the sin that there was before and after. Our sin that didn't even exist yet because we wasn't even here yet. Way back then. Just like when we think about the Day of Atonement, when the priest goes and he puts the sin on the goat. That goat goes somewhere else. They got all the sin on it. That one gets cast away. And then the other one that didn't get the sin put on it, that's the one that gets that gives his life for you, right? But when we look at Yeshua, he's playing both parts over here. He get the sin put on him and he dies, right? And so with that, there's something that he knows is something that he can't even fathom this thing. Yeshua, right? He's exceeding, my soul is exceedingly grieved about this thing that's about to happen. But when we look at Hebrews, read Hebrews 12, 1 and 2. Hebrews 12.
It says, we too, then having so great a cloud of witnesses all around us, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race set before us, looking to the Prince and Perfecter of our belief, Yeshua, who for the joy that was set before him endured the stake, having despised the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of Elohim.
Okay, very good. This joy that he talking about, the joy wasn't the cup, because he didn't want the cup. In fact, he said the cup is this shame. He despised the cup. The shame of that torture stake, he despised that because he was becoming a curse. But the joy that was set before him endured the stake. The joy was the thing that was after that. That was the other part.
Yeah.
That was the other part. And so when we think about this idea of this bread of affliction, it's always about that part over there that you know's coming. You got to go through the thing.
Gotcha, yeah.
It's right over there. You got to go through it. And it's a terrible thing. He despised the shame of it. But it said for the joy that was set before him. But when you're looking at it, the joy is after the bad part.
Gotta go through it, yeah.
And
But
then-
that bad part's set before him, though.
Yeah.
Go
And
ahead.
He said, nevertheless. You know, he said, nevertheless.
He
That
ain't even
made the
finished
separate-
talking.
Right.
He didn't even get it all the way out. I can't even take this thing.
Right.
But nevertheless.
And that showed like he was in the flesh. He was down here with, because
He had a moment.
no man
For half a
wanted.
sentence, he was human.
Yeah, he said, "Let this pass from me," because it's like you don't. First of all, he didn't deserve it. Like
No, he didn't.
he didn't
It
deserve.
was
Like
about him. No.
imagine you doing all the right things. Now you got to go suffer. How's that fair? But that was his lot. That's what. Unfortunately, we fortunate that he went through that and went through with it.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, because if he had kept going,
Yeah.
you know, he never let that thing with him. But nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done.
Exactly. Yep. Yes. Yep.
And so the key thing that we gotta think about, the fact that even looking at Yeshua, he understands that this is a real thing that he's about to deal with. He's about to physically die. He's about to experience separation from the Most High, who's actually one with the Most High. He's about to experience all of this. But he said for the joy that was set before him, because he's able to look beyond that to the end game, where he sits down at the right hand of the throne of Elohim.
That's what it said. He endured the stake, and then he also mentioned to the disciples and one who studied. He said, "He that endureth to the end."
Same to it.
Yeah. So it's you going. We all got to endure something.
It's the same thing. You dealing with this over here. He's the author and finisher of the faith. He set the standard. He started off in the wilderness. He started off with the temptation.
Right.
He lived this life of service unto the Most High unto death. He's the blueprint. And if he had to go through all of these things, why do we think that we don't got to go through some things? But as we go through these things, understanding that those things is just trying to block our view of the joy that's behind those things. The joy's over there. It's just things is getting in the way. Trying to block. But we got to just look beyond those things, right? that joy part, that part comes after. All right, so again, we think about this whole bread of affliction. The bread of affliction is about joy, though. Because we're thinking about what it is that the Most High did for us. We're thinking about the fact that he came in and took us up out of there. We're thinking about the fact that Yeshua lived and died and rose on the third day and sent back his Ruach HaKodesh so that we could be have the Spirit of the Most High in us and walk in the liberty and freedom that he provided. All right, I want to finish up with First Peter. First Peter 1. Start reading that at verse 8.
It says, whom having not seen you love, in whom you exult with unspeakable and esteemed joy, yet not seeing but believing, obtaining the goal of your belief, a deliverance of lives. Concerning this deliverance, the prophets have sought out and searched out, prophesying concerning the favor for you, searching to know what sort of time the Spirit which was in them was pointing out concerning Messiah, when it was bearing witness beforehand the sufferings of Messiah, the esteems that would follow, to whom it was revealed that they were serving not themselves but you in these matters, which now have been announced to you through those who brought the good news to you by the set apart Spirit sent from heaven, into which messengers long to look into. You going?
Yeah.
Therefore, having girded up the loins of your mind, being sober, set your expectation perfectly upon the favor that is to be brought to you at the revelation of Yeshua Messiah.
Okay, just stop right there for a minute, because again, this kind of goes back to the same thought that we was thinking about before, all the way back in the Psalms verse, with the idea of having our minds set, our inner man set on the Messiah, right? On the, he's the Spirit of the Most High. When it comes and lives and dwells on the inside of you, we're able to connect with the character of the Most High. And he said, having girded up the loins of your mind. When you girding up your loins, you getting ready to fight. When you gird up your loins, when you talk about girding up your loins, that's rolling your sleeves up and you getting ready to go. But of your mind, though. And so when we look back in Psalms, that looked like you staying connected with the Most High, praising and magnifying the Most High. Understanding that fear of the Most High, and understanding when you have that connection with the Most High, there's nothing that you want. Right? Keep on going. 14.
As obedient children, not conforming yourselves to the former lusts in your ignorance. Mm-hmm. Instead, as the one who called you is set apart, so you also should become set apart in all behavior. Mm-hmm. Because it has been written, be set apart, for I am set apart. And if you call on the Father, who without partiality judges according to each one's work, pass the time of your sojourning in fear, knowing that you were redeemed from your futile behavior, inherited from your fathers, not with what is corruptible, silver or gold, but with the precious blood of Messiah, as a lamb unblemished and spotless.
Okay, so when he's sitting up here talking about this idea of walking a certain way and being set apart and understanding where you're at, the fact that you were redeemed from those things that you shouldn't be doing, right? Not with corruptible things of silver and gold, but with the precious blood of Messiah as the Lamb of the unblemished and spotless. Peter over here causing these people to, admonishing these people to walk in rightness, points them back to the bread of affliction, Yeshua, and so that they're able to do it. Yeshua and what he's done for us is put you in a place where you're more than able to do this thing because you have been bought, redeemed by this thing that's not corruptible, this thing that don't tarnish, this thing that never devalues, this thing that the blood that he shed for you is always good. Not like this silly dollar that we deal with. Not like the currency and things that we have to depend on, that put this money in these cryptocurrencies and this thing just goes up and down.
That ain't worth nothing, really.
Right is right. But this thing over here, this is the thing that empowers the people to be able to move forward. The fact that he has done this. The fact that, he is that bread of affliction. It's talking about the way in which you was redeemed. The way in which you was taken out from Egypt. The blood of Messiah. Okay, keep on going. Oh, hold on. Let me push it up.
Where I start at 20?
Yeah, start at 20, yeah.
For known indeed before the foundation of the world, but manifested in these last times for your sakes.
So when you think about this verse right over here, the Most High, when you come to Yeshua through faith, he already knew you was coming, and he made a way for you to get there. Right? He did all the things that he did beforehand to get it ready for you, even just right now. And so we could think about that in terms of tomorrow and the next day. That these things is coming in our paths, these afflictions, these things that's pushing down on us is in our ways. But he made a way already yesterday before we even got here for our tomorrows.
He declared the end from the beginning. So he already know.
He already fixed
that
it
should
up.
give you more confidence to be like, you can see the redemption in the book, so you just gotta get there. Do your part.
And our part is just about keeping our faith and connection to Messiah and what he's done for us. And not allowing these things that happen in our lives to become distractions to pull us away from the goal, from the joy that's set before us. All right, keep on reading this.
It says, who through him believe in Elohim, who raised him from the dead and gave him esteem, so that your belief and expectation are in Elohim.
Our belief and expectation is in the Most High.
Nothing else.
Not in these things that happen to us. Not in these things that press down on us. But the fact that some things press down on Yeshua, he pressed through those things and came out victorious for our sake. Go ahead, keep on going.
It says, now that you have cleansed your lives and obeying the truth through the Spirit to unfurring, how you say that?
Unfeigned.
Unfeigned brotherly love.
That's brotherly love that just can't be stopped. You can't stop my brotherly love. It's unfeigned.
Right. Love one another fervently with a clean heart, having been born again, not of corruptible seed, but incorruptible, through the living word of Elohim, which remains forever. Because all flesh is as grass, and all esteem of man as a flower of the grass.
Yeah.
The grass withers and its flower falls away, but the word of Elohim remains forever. And this is the word announced as good news to you.
Yes. Okay, so again, we're thinking about this idea of, again, all the way back in Deuteronomy 16, we're talking about this bread of affliction, that we eat, and we remember the Most High bringing us out of Egypt. Remember Yeshua bringing us out of this bondage that we're in, to our flesh, to our carnality. The thing that even Deuteronomy is pointing us to is this bread of affliction, which is kind of like a prophetic sense almost, that is causing us to understand this thing, this bread of affliction, helps us to remember the most important parts. Yeshua, again, is, in fact, the bread of affliction. And so when we go through this life that we're going through, understanding that, when we're able to put things in their proper perspective and live this life that we understand is temporal, we can get through this thing through not only the example that Yeshua gave us, but the strength and power that is given to us through what he has done, the Ruach HaKodesh living on the inside of us, which helps to enable us to continue in that connection with the Most High, so that we're able to have our focus be, always be where it needs to be, so that we can be victorious in these things, situations, and circumstances that we come into over here. What's this over here? This Psalms 34:5. Sing praise to Yahweh, you saints of his. Give thanks to his holy name, for his anger is but for a moment. His favor is for a lifetime. Weeping may stay for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Yes, absolutely. So, we have to be able to understand that, the thing that we focus on is not our affliction, right? Our affliction is not the thing. The thing that we focus on is Yeshua's affliction, because that affliction actually empowers us to be able to move forward in this life until he returns. All right, so that is what I wanted to actually talk about today. Does anybody have any thoughts about any of that before we shut down?
I was talking with the sisters the other night, and we were talking about aging, and in regards to the temporal things, our physical life, it is a temporal thing, and we were talking about our ages, And I said, oh, that's young. I'm young, you know. I'm not old. Like, my life is eternal.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, I have an eternal life to look forward to. You know, Most High willing in His presence. You know, and so that, you know, I think that's a part of the end goal that we have to be focused on too, is eternal life with the Father.
Exactly.
Ultimately.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about those things, it's like, you think about numbers. Like, I mean, numbers, there's numbers. Like, but eternity, though? Olam?
Yeah.
When you think about Olam, it's just time indefinite. It's way over there, and you can't see where the end of it is. But we have life everlasting, though.
Yeah.
And everlasting is it just goes on. It's just over there.
Yeah.
I can't see the end. Like, where is it?
Yeah.
There is no end.
There is no end. There's no foreseeable end.
Ain't so.
Right? And so it makes, when you compare eternal to any number, it's always bigger, I think.
I ain't gonna hold you. Me personally, it's like I ain't even started living yet.
No, how could
I'm like,
you?
not till the king come, then I can start living. I ain't
That's
even really
life.
living for
That's
real.
life. That's life.
I'm like,
That's life. If he's life and we're going to be with him, then that's when we experience life.
that's what I'm looking for.
Right
Like,
here, this is just some other thing.
we trying to get through this. We just trying to get through this.
It's the movie, like the brother said.
Yeah.
So many people want to push play and talk, but not just let the movie play. Just let the play, let the movie go to the end. You know, one, man.
You know what's interesting about the the bread of affliction too, is the fact that the freedom that actually comes through the affliction too, as well. Can we read John Yochanan 8 31 through 36?
You want me to read it or you read it?
Yeah. How can you do that?
Okay. So Yeshua said to those Yehudim who believed him, if you stay in my word, you are truly my taught ones. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. They answered him, we are the seed of Abraham and have been servants to no one at any time. How do you say you shall become free? Yeshua answered them, truly, truly, I say to you, everyone doing sin is a servant of sin. And the servant does not stay in the house forever. A son stays forever. If then the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed.
So that right there says a whole lot about being able to know what bondage actually is now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Bondage is sin.
Mm-hmm.
You bound by sin. And if the Son haven't set you free from sin, you're still bound. That's what these so-called Jews couldn't understand at that time. Mm-hmm. And that's what, I just wanted to add to that bread of affliction, through that comes your freedom, which is the truth.
Yeah,
Yehoshua was the truth.
absolutely.
And
It is the truth.
Yeah, it was the truth, is the truth, and forever will be the truth. And if you're not free from sin, then you're still bound, and you still are in bondage with the leaven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Hallelujah. Okay, so we're gonna let that just be the last word. Okay, so we'll say for now, this is our Shabbat Shalom. Y'all willing, we will be
Shabbat
back
Shalom.
on the weekly Shabbat for some more.
All right.
All right.